everybody, I'm Rebecca and thank you for joining me for today's class. In this class, we will be focusing on the little things, the small movements that bring our bodies into the different shapes that we practice in this class. I will be using a couple of blocks for today's class, but they're not required. But if you have them, feel free to bring them. So take just a moment, gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat.
So we'll start in seated today. Just come to your most comfortable seat, whatever that is, and allow your eyes to flutter closed. And we'll start by just taking 3 deep breaths together. So allow your lungs to empty fully. And then we'll inhale together all the way to the top and exhale. Second breath. Our last breath. And just allow your breath to return to normal now. Just taking a moment to notice what it feels like to be here. The touch of the air on your skin, the pressure of your body on the floor, and the floor supporting you. The feeling of your hands, that gentle buzz and tingle that you may notice when you bring your full attention to your hands. Dropping your shoulders consciously away from your ears. Maybe tucking your chin just slightly. Maybe bring a little smile, just turning the ends of your mouth up slightly. And then allow your eyes to flutter open gently. We'll allow our hands to come out to the mat next to us. And we're just going to inhale the arms up overhead, like we're holding a giant beach ball overhead. And then imagine yourself dropping your shoulders down and back. Feel how that broadens your collarbones slightly. Inhale to really shoot those fingertips up, and then exhale, bringing your arms to goddess pose. So opening the chest and the shoulders. Inhaling, fingertips reach up. Exhale, goddess pose. One more time. Inhale, fingertips reach up. And if you'd like to look up towards that beach ball, if that feels all right for your neck. And then exhale, coming to goddess pose. We'll inhale one more time, looking up towards that beach ball only if you like. And then exhale, fingertips float down to the mat. If you have a couple of blocks or books, you're welcome to bring those out in front of you. Going to stay seated here in our Sukhasana, but you can bring your feet to parallel so that the bones are not stacked on top of each other. We're going to take the hands to the blocks I happen to have two blocks of different sizes, so I've turned mine upwards where they are the same size. Just place the hands on the blocks and take a nice big inhale. And as you're exhaling, just press the blocks away gently. It's not necessary to go any particular distance in front of you, just any distance that feels comfortable in order for you to get some sensation through the outer hip, or just to feel the arms and shoulders beginning to stretch. Take a deep breath here. And then on your next inhale, draw the blocks back towards the body. And then exhale, pressing the blocks away. Extending the arms. And then you can walk the fingertips off the blocks. We're going to walk the fingertips over to the right. And if you like, you can place one hand on top of the other here. So bringing a stretch into the side body here as well. And pressing that front hip down to the mat. On our next inhale, we'll walk the fingertips back through center and all the way over to the other side. Once again, stacking the hands on top of each other if you like, or you can leave the hands tented, or you can even keep the hands extended in the center, just what feels best for your body. And then walking those fingertips back to the blocks. And on our next inhale, sliding the blocks back towards the body. We'll reverse the feet now so that the other foot is in front. And we're going to take one of our blocks and bring it over to the side, or to the left side here. And you can take your hand to that block. We're going to inhale the right arm up and exhale as we stretch into the side body, bending over towards the hand that's supported by the block. So here with this right hand up overhead, pressing the right hip into the floor. Inhale to release. And we'll switch that block to the other side. Get onto the right side now. Inhaling the left arm up overhead. And exhale, stretching over towards that side. So even though a block is not necessarily needed for this shape, it's interesting to bring a block into the practice and see how that changes things. And inhale to release. We'll bring that block back around in front now. Inhale to grow tall. And exhale again, pressing the block away. Now feeling that stretch through the outside of the other hip. Inhale, drawing those blocks back towards the body. And exhale, pressing the blocks away. Once again, dropping those fingers from the blocks, walking them first to one side. Maybe stacking the hands on top of each other. And then walking them through center to the other side. Walking the fingertips back to the blocks now. And inhaling, drawing the blocks back towards the body. Good. So we'll shift those blocks out of the way now. You might want to put one back towards the back of your mat. And we're going to come around into tabletop. Just go ahead and find your nice, stable tabletop here. We're going to take some cat-cows here. And you can take these however you like. If you like to inhale and drop the belly and exhale to draw the belly button in a more traditional cat-cow, you can do that. Or maybe you'd like to try some barrel rolls today, or even that sort of movement I hear called a drunken cat-cow, sometimes where you sink the hips back towards the heels. Just find something here that feels good. If you do choose something like barrel rolls or the drunken cat-cow, make sure that you remember to switch directions with your circles in the middle. And whatever you've chosen here, you can bring that to stillness. And we're actually going to find our way down to our bellies. So just gently lower yourself down to your belly. I'm going to stretch the front of the shoulder here. I'm not sure what this stretch is traditionally called, but my first exposure to it was during a sequence on ahimsa or non-harming. So I often think of it as the ahimsa shoulder stretch. So stretch the arms out wide on the floor. And we're going to turn the head to one side. I've got my head turned towards the right here. And I'm going to bring my right hand in front of my chest with my left arm still extended. Roll over towards the left, stacking the legs here in any way that feels comfortable. Feeling that stretch across the front of the left shoulder. And if you like here, you can bring the right leg around behind, placing the foot on the floor. Left ear and left shoulder resting on the floor. And if you'd like to try a different variation, you can even bring that right hand around behind, placing the back of the hand in the small of the back and opening through the front of the right shoulder. And then just allow yourself to relax here and breathe. Nothing particular to do here, just allowing the shape to do the work of stretching the front of the shoulder. And then we'll unwind this pose in the same way that we came in. So first, bringing the right hand back in front of the chest, if you chose that variation, then extending the right leg and gently rolling back onto the chest, extending out both arms and turning the head now towards the left, resting the left cheek and ear on the floor, bringing the left hand in front of the chest and pressing open onto that right shoulder. If you like, bringing that left leg around behind, resting it on the floor. Maybe swimming that left hand around to the lower back. And just find some way to grow a little heavy here. Let go of some tension or some armoring. Just release yourself. Taking deep breaths all the way down into the belly. And then coming out as we came in, bringing the left hand back to the floor, extending the left leg, rolling back onto the belly. And then we'll bring both hands next to the chest, pressing up gently and coming back into our tabletop. I'm actually here if you'd like to grab your blocks again. You're gonna come into a child's pose using our blocks. So bringing your blocks back underneath both hands, just as you did when we were doing our seated forward fold. You can bring your knees out wide here if you like, or you can keep them close together. We'll sink the hips back towards the heels and then allow the blocks to be underneath the hands. And they can be turned up halfway like mine or flat. Both of your blocks are the same size. So coming into this child's pose with the blocks allows us to stretch through the shoulder and the underside of the arm in a bit of a different way than we usually do. Using blocks, introducing some space into our practice in a way that we might not always do. A couple of deep breaths here, allowing the hips to begin to open as we open the shoulders. And then pressing both hands into the blocks, we use our inhale to draw us up from this shape, coming back into a tabletop. And now we can shift that block back towards the back of the mat. And we're going to walk the hands, a couple of handprints out in front, roll the toes under in the back, and slowly shift those hips up, keeping the knees nice and bent, coming into our downward facing dog. So you might begin to slowly pedal out through the feet here. Turn that tailbone up towards the ceiling. Just waking up the hamstrings, moving slowly and gently with ourselves, focusing on the little things. Small movements of the muscles that are necessary to move the body. Maybe the temperature of the room that you're in. And then bending both knees deeply, we'll look forward towards the hands and walk the feet up to the mat in tiny little baby steps until we get to the top. Coming into our first forward fold here, so keeping the knees nice and bent. If you like to come into a rag doll, holding onto both elbows here, or walk the fingertips side to side. And then if you chose some motion, allow that to come to stillness. We'll release the hands back down to the mat and then take one hand above each bent knee and very slowly inhale all the way up to stand. Once again, noticing all the tiny engagements of the back body that it takes to allow us to rise, rolling the shoulders onto the back as we come up to the top of the mat. You can stay at the top of your mat. You're going to bring your hands together, interlacing your fingers and allowing your pointer fingers to point up towards the ceiling. We're going to come into a side stretch here. So inhaling your hands up overhead and then stretching over to the left side in the side stretch. So inhaling the arms up overhead, stretching over towards that left side, really grounding down through the right heel, keeping that little micro bend in the knees. And then inhaling back to center. And exhaling over to the other side, grounding down through that left heel. Maybe peeling that left shoulder open just a little. And then inhale back to center. And we'll exhale the hands back down through heart center, coming back into forward fold. From here, we'll inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to release into the fold, planting both hands now and stepping back either to a plank or to a half plank. So take just a moment here, whether your knees are dropped to the floor or not, to really feel the engagement of the shoulders away from the mat. So imagine bringing the heart up through the back of the shoulders, pressing into the mat so firmly that you actually round the back of the shoulders slightly. And then draw the belly button in towards the spine. Again, noticing the little things. And then we're going to lower into chaturanga. So hugging those elbows into the sides, rolling forward a little if you're on your toes, and slowly as you can. And then allowing yourself to relax all the way down onto your belly, taking the tops of the feet to the mat. Hands are out next to the chest, still pulling those elbows in towards each other and using the back muscles, inhaling up to baby cobra. And once you've allowed yourself to come up into baby cobra, hover the hands just slightly over the mat, taking a gaze a couple of inches in front of you on the floor, holding it here. 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Inhaling to cross back up through plank or half plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking the gaze forward, walking the feet up towards the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhaling, arms come up overhead, finding that steeple grip again. And exhaling over to one side. Inhaling, fingers come back up overhead. Exhale, other side. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, hands come down through heart center all the way down. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, releasing into the fold. And then inhale all the way up to stand. Hands come to heart center. I'm going to bring the hands to the waistline here. So bringing those hands to the waist, rolling the shoulders onto the back. We'll pull the belly button in tight. And we're going to take a big step back with the right foot, turning the right foot out slightly so that the toes are pointing towards the top right corner of the mat. And once you found yourself here, really press into your feet, almost like you might tear the mat apart, and feel how that engages all the little muscles of the legs. Pressing that right hip forward now so that the hips are aligned, and bringing the left knee over the left ankle. You can keep your hands here in this warrior one, or you can bring your hands to heart center. And if you like, you can inhale the arms up overhead, reaching up through the fingertips, feeling the upward extension of the torso, shoulders, and fingers, and that grounding down of the legs. As we inhale here, we're going to extend the front leg and exhale, coming into goddess arms. Inhale, arms come back overhead. And then we'll exhale, coming back into warrior one. Inhaling again, extending through that front leg. Exhale, goddess arms. Inhale, arms come back overhead, pulling in through that belly button. Exhale, warrior one. Inhaling here, extending the fingertips, keeping the knee bent this time. As we're exhaling, we'll swim the hands around behind the lower back, interlacing the fingers, bringing the palms towards each other and pressing down and away. Again, opening through the front of the shoulder. And you can keep it right here. Or if you like, as you're exhaling, you can lower the torso over the front leg, allowing the knuckles to rise up towards the ceiling, coming into humble warrior. And we'll allow those fingertips to unwind, allowing the hands to find the floor, planting the hands around the left foot. We'll take a little bit of a step back with the right foot so that we've come into a low lunge with the left leg forward. And then planting the right hand into the mat, we'll inhale the left arm open into a twist. Exhaling to allow that left hand to find the floor again. We'll bring the right foot back to meet the left, coming back into our forward fold. And then inhaling up to stand. Hands come to heart center. And now we'll come through that again on the other side. So bringing the hands to the waistline here, grounding into that right foot, stepping back with the left. Left foot comes at a bit of an angle, aligning the right knee over the right ankle, pressing the feet away. And then inhaling the arms up overhead, or choosing where you'd like to have the arms. We'll inhale as we extend that right knee. Exhale, goddess arms. Inhale, arms come back overhead. Exhale, back to warrior one. Inhale, straighten the front knee. Exhale, goddess arms. Inhale, arms back up overhead. Exhale, warrior one. Keeping the front knee bent now. Inhaling, sending those fingertips way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bringing the hands around behind the small of the back, interlacing them in the way that feels unusual. And pressing the palms together, extending the knuckles down and away. Keeping your warrior here if you like, or exhaling, coming into humble warrior. Sending those knuckles up towards the ceiling. Couple of breaths here. Exhaling, releasing the fingertips down to the floor, planting both hands around the right foot this time, stepping that left foot back just a little, coming into a right lunge on this side, and then planting the left hand into the floor, inhaling the arm open into a twist. Returning to the breath. And exhale that right hand. Come back down. We'll step the left foot forward, coming back into forward fold. Inhaling, coming up to stand. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up overhead again. And if you like, again, you can follow the hands with the gaze if that feels good for your neck. And then we'll exhale, allowing the arms to sweep down as we come back down into our forward fold. We're going to plant both hands here and step both feet back, coming into downward facing dog. Really pressing away from the mat, moving the weight towards the heels. And then grounding into the right foot, pulling that belly button in. We'll inhale the left heel up. And then exhale, left leg comes in between the hands as we come into a lunge on the left side. From here, we're going to allow that right foot to pivot so that the heel is on the floor. And windmill the right arm around as we come into a warrior two. So take just a moment to get yourself here. Check in with your alignment. And then we're going to inhale as we extend that front leg, allowing the back hand to drop back and extending through the front arm as we come into a reverse triangle. On our next exhale, we'll allow the front knee to bend, bringing the front elbow down to the knee and sweeping the upper arm up and over the ear as we come into an extended side angle. And now we're going to flow through these two movements. So as we inhale, we'll come into reverse triangle. And exhale, sweeping into extended side angle. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, extended side angle. One more time. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, extended side angle. And now we'll allow this top hand to sweep back down to the floor. So planting the right hand here on the floor, planting both hands around the left foot. We'll step the left foot back. And here you can come through a vinyasa if you like, or come straight to your downward facing dog. And now meeting back in our downward dog. We're going to plant the left foot into the floor, firming up through the belly muscles. Inhaling, the right leg comes up. Exhale, right foot comes through center. Again, pivoting on that back foot, bringing the left heel down to the floor, and then allowing the arm to windmill around, coming into warrior two on the side. Dropping the shoulders down and back. And then again, inhaling as we extend through the front leg, allowing the back hand to drop, the front hand to rise. Reverse triangle. Exhaling, bending into that front knee. Elbow comes to the knee, sweeping that bicep up over the ear, extended side angle. Flowing through this movement, inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, extended side angle. One more time through this flow. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, extended side angle. And then the left hand will find the floor, framing the front foot, stepping the foot back, coming through a vinyasa or right to your downward dog. And now we're going to allow the left leg to step forward gently in between the hands. And then walk the fingertips towards the center of the mat as we allow all 10 toes to come to face the front. So we've come into a wide leg forward fold here. And dropping into that wide leg forward fold. Just allowing the crown of the head to release and relax towards the floor. Rotating that tailbone up towards the ceiling, bending the knees just slightly, but engaging the thighs to draw the kneecaps up the front of the leg. And then with this engagement, pressing into the outside edges of the feet, we'll bring one hand over each bent knee and inhale up to stand with a flat back. Bringing the heels in slightly to allow the toes to be pointed out towards the outside corners of the mat. We'll inhale the arms up overhead and exhale as we bend into the knees, coming into goddess pose. So checking in with your knees here, really making sure that those knees are tracking right out over the feet, protecting our knee joints here. Inhaling, we'll extend the legs, reaching the hands up tall. And then exhale, goddess pose. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. One more time. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. And then inhale, back to 5-pointed star. We're going to bring all 10 toes facing forward again, allowing the hands to sweep down to the waistline, really pulling that belly button in nice and tight, bending the knees slightly, and then slowly exhaling as we lower forward. We'll stop as we come halfway here, making that back nice and straight like a table, keeping the shoulders on the back. Nice big inhale here. And then exhale, continuing on down into our wide leg forward fold. And then planting the right hand in front of the face here. We'll inhale as we open up through the left arm, coming into a wide leg forward fold twist. And exhale, releasing that arm down to the floor, switching hands at the bottom, and then inhaling, open through the right hand. And exhale, going all the way back down. From here, we're going to heel toe the feet in towards each other until they come back to shoulder width distance. And then you can either bend the knees slightly, bringing the hand over the bent knees, or just inhale up to stand with a flat back. Hands come to heart center. So we're going to practice some balance this morning. If you do have a wall in your space, I'd encourage you to come to the wall. We're going to start just by bringing one hand to the wall and grounding down into the foot that's closest to the wall. We're going to allow the other leg to raise as we come into a one-legged mountain. So I really want you to pay attention to your alignment here, beginning with the lifted leg. So just take a look. See if you can align the ankle right under the knee and really pull those toes back towards the face. And this is why we're using the wall here, because we're focusing on some other things today. And then take some of your focus to the hip that's closest to the wall. Often when we stand on one leg, we tend to send that hip out to the side. So see if you can draw that hip up under you, bringing a little micro bend into the knee there. And then we're going to actually allow that standing knee to bend just a little more as we bring the ankle over the bent knee and come here into a standing figure 4 pose. So you can allow those hips to shift back. You should get some sensation down the outside of the hip. Couple of deep breaths here. Bring back that ujjayi breath. And then we'll inhale to come back up to stand, coming back into our one-legged mountain. And you can take your hand to the inside of the knee here, grasping the knee and opening that hip out to the side. And if you like to take your gaze over the opposite shoulder, you can do that here. We'll inhale to bring that back to center. And then exhale, taking that leg down to the floor. Find any little movements here that you like, and then we'll turn to the other side. So using your wall or a piece of furniture for stability here, once again, we'll inhale up through this other leg this time, checking in with the alignment, pulling that supporting hip under the body, bending slightly into the supporting knee. Noticing all the little points of contact here, how the floor supports each toe, how the wall or the furniture is supporting your hand, and your leg supporting your body. And then bend slightly into that supporting knee, bringing the ankle over the knee, shifting the hips back. Figure four pose, standing pigeon. We'll inhale to stand, coming back to one-legged mountain, taking a hand to the inside of the knee here, and then exhaling as we open through the hip. Even with using the hand or the wall for stability, continuing to pull in through the belly muscles, pelvic floor muscles, all those stabilizing muscles. And then inhale, coming back to one-legged mountain. And exhale, releasing that leg down to the floor, finding any little movements you need to shake that out. We'll come back to the mat now. We'll come back up to the top of the mat actually, but I'm going to stay here in the center so that you can see. We're going to bring the hands to heart center, coming into a nice Tadasana here. We'll inhale, rolling the shoulders onto the back, opening the collarbones, pulling the belly button in. And then as we're exhaling, begin to bend into the knees. The heels will come up from the floor. We're going to come into a toe balance. So heels are lifted, toes are pressing into the floor. And if you're finding this challenging, another variation is to bring the fingertips to the floor. Just simply find where you'd like to be with this pose today. Finding a focal point. Another option is to bring the feet very close together so that the arches of the feet are moving closer to one another and zipping those legs together, really together. And then wherever you've chosen to take this pose, we'll release the fingertips down to the floor and shift over into a seated position. From our seat, we're going to roll down onto the back, bringing the knees into the chest, rolling a little side to side. And we'll allow the soles of the feet to find the floor. And here we're going to come into bridge or supported bridge. So if you have your block handy, I'm going to bring the feet in line with the hip points, The knees extending straight out of the hip sockets. Hands are resting at the sides, palms down on the floor. And as we're inhaling, we're going to press the hips up towards the ceiling, and you can shift the block right underneath the sacrum or the tailbone here. So not under the small of the back, but under this firm, bony part at the bottom of the spine, the beginning of the tailbone. And just allow yourself to relax and release here for a moment. You're welcome to stay here, or if you would like to deepen this back bend a little, you can inhale, sending the hips up and turning the block up to its side, going into a little deeper bridge pose. And if you're very flexible in the back and you want to turn it up yet another level, I'll leave that up to you. Just allowing yourself to relax and release here. Supported bridge pose. If you did choose to turn your block up a bit, then I inhale to lift the hips, turning the block back down to its lowest level. And relaxing back down to that level. From here, we'll pull the belly button in, and we're going to bring the knees into the chest, but very slowly, one leg at a time. Again, focusing on all the little movements, all the little tiny engagements of the muscle that it takes just to move the knees into the chest. And once you've brought the knees back into the chest, still with the block underneath the back, you're welcome to extend the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, coming into waterfall pose, also known as Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall pose. And feel free to play with this in any way that feels comfortable for you. So you can keep the feet extended overhead, or if you like, you can allow the feet to sink forward, coming into something like plow pose, maybe grasping the big toes with the peace fingers. Just finding anything that feels good here. Opening the legs if you like. Closing them. And then when you've finished up that play in the body, we'll bring the knees back to the chest. Slowly allowing the soles of the feet to find the floor. Inhale the hips up to release the block out of the way. Allowing that lower back to gently sink back down towards the floor, and then walking the feet out wide to the outer edges of the mat. Inhaling here. And then we'll exhale, dropping the knees over to one side. You're welcome to open the arms out side to side. Maybe take the gaze over the opposite shoulder. Inhaling the knees back up. Taking a moment here for the pelvis to readjust, and then exhaling, dropping the knees over in the other direction, taking the gaze over the opposite shoulder if you like. Inhaling, knees come back to center. Maybe windshield wipering the legs a little side to side. And then drawing the knees back into the chest. I'm going to hug the right knee into the chest here as we extend out long through the left leg, pressing out through the left heel. And then we're going to take the right hand to the right big toe, pulling back just a bit here, maybe extending the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. So coming into this one-legged happy baby or one leg archer pose. And then allowing that to release, we'll bring the left knee back into the chest, hugging the left knee and now extending out long through the right heel, pressing out through that heel, maybe reaching through for that big toe and coming into this one leg archer pose, or if you like, extending that sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, one-legged happy baby. And allowing that to release, bringing the right knee back into the chest, finding any last movement that feels good. And then we'll release both legs out to the lower corners of the mat, bringing those shoulder blades up underneath the back and relaxing into Shavasana. Taking a moment here again to notice the breath. Maybe taking a little walk through the body, checking in with each toe, the big toe, the second toe, the third toe, the fourth toe, the little toe. Continuing through the body, noticing the effects of our practice, noticing the little things, the backs of the knees, the hip points, the little finger on the right hand, the little finger on the left hand. Bringing a softening to the throat. Releasing the jaw muscles. Noticing the right cheekbone, the left cheekbone. Noticing the hollow behind the right ear and the hollow behind the left ear. Releasing and relaxing the scalp. And allowing the mind to be relaxed. Take a deep breath and wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe inhale your arms up overhead and stretch out long. When you're ready, roll yourself to one side and press back up to a seated position. I invite you to keep your eyes closed or your gaze lowered, or even remain in Shavasana for a little longer if that feels right for you. The reading I have for today is called Small Kindnesses, and it's by Danusha Lamaris. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by, or how strangers will say bless you when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we're saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the smiling person handing it to us, to smile at them and for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other sometimes, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first, or I like your hat. Thank you for joining me for today's practice. May you go through the day today, noticing the little things and the small kindnesses, and may your yoga follow you off the mat.